everybody. Welcome to 10 at 10 to the Regional Business Connect group. My name's Heidi Fowler and my business is Simply Careers. I'm based in Taree in New South Wales, and I just want to say thanks so much to Kerry and Russell for having me today. It's a real pleasure. I'm going to have the privilege of interviewing myself. So having just answered the first question, I'm going to move into the second question, which is how many years have I been in business? Well, officially I've been working since January 2014 full-time in my business. About 18 months leading up to that, I was still working full-time, and it took me that long to position myself to be able to make the leap from being an employee to being a business owner. Good morning, Russell and Ingrid and April. Thank you for your comments. So yes, it took a bit of effort to be able to be working essentially two jobs for a little while, but it was certainly well worth it, and I've never looked back. The next question is, what is my preference for marketing my business and why? So as a career coach, most of my clients I find are on LinkedIn, some coming through Facebook, but predominantly I'm a big believer in what I call WOMBAT, which is word of mouth best advertising tool. So what has happened for me in the last 6 years in business is that I work with people who are really happy with the outcomes that they get and just with working with me. And of course, they then refer their friends, their family members and their colleagues, who it then makes it really easy when people ring me because they essentially already know they want to work with me because they get really excited about that. And so it makes my job really easy essentially. But yes, I don't do any paid advertising as such. I think I started with Gumtree when I first started out, and yes, I got some good clients through there, but a lot of tire kickers too. So really it's word of mouth for me. So next question is, what has been my biggest disaster? Well, I have to say that thankfully I seem to have dodged that bullet so far in my business. I haven't had any major disasters. However, in saying that, as a career coach, my goal is to make sure that everything I do is done accurately. And I've had a few incidents which actually were sort of humorous, really, in some ways, and that's to do with typos. And it's really important, that our job applications are 100% correct, because we display that if we can't fix our own typos in an application, then what are we going to be like in the workplace? So one of my stories was I was working with a client doing an application for a faculty manager, and I left the C out of faculty, which made them a faulty manager. So thankfully we picked that one up. The other doozy that I've done, because D is next to F on the keyboard, I was assisting a senior manager apply for a job with a golf club and became a gold club, which we actually didn't pick up, but they still got an interview because the person reading it obviously didn't notice either, or had a bit of a chuckle to themselves. Either way, it's really about accuracy and being brutally honest with my clients if I do make a mistake, because our clients actually appreciate that. My most important business tools, well, Office 365 stands above everything because predominantly I am producing word processed or typed documents. I am, using the bookings function and forms, and of course Microsoft Outlook for my emails. The other tools that I use that are important for me is Trello. I just love that as a workflow management tool. Lots of steps when working with multiple clients, deadlines, all at different stages. Some have made an appointment, some I've already written and are waiting for feedback, etc. So I use Trello for that. And the other thing, which is probably a bit of a boring example, but my other tool that I actually use is making sure I have a printer that has an automatic document feeder for scanning my documents. I can take up to 30 pages of notes. My aim is to have a paperless storage system for all of my clients' records. So when I'm finished a consultation, the first thing I want to do is scan all those documents, those pages. I used to do it one page at a time, and oh my goodness, no, quickly decided that was never going to work if I wanted to have some time in my day. So just the very basics of those, office tools are really important for me. Now, my most prized business system. Well, I hate admitting this, but in the workplace, my reputation was Tidy Heidi. Not because I'm immaculate with a clean desk, but because I'm a systems person. So that same approach when I was working as an employee actually flows through everything that I do in my business. I just love to have systems for things that I do. So, for example, my most prized system at the moment that I use every day is a very simple client information sheet that not only has their basic contact details and the industry they're wanting to apply for, it also has all the follow-up information on it. So I don't miss anything. So things like sending a thank you to the person who referred them to me, making sure that I check up with the client, put dates in my calendars, 2 to 6 weeks after the job application has closed. So, because I do care about my clients, I want to make sure they're doing okay. And if they didn't have success on that first attempt in securing a new job, then I want to be able to encourage them to, keep going on, because resilience is a really big thing when you're looking for work, and I like to walk alongside my clients. So making sure through my systems that I don't miss all of those important things, so that my clients' experience and their journey with me is a great one. That's my goal. So my preference for running a small or a large organisation, well, I've never run a large organisation. Yes, I have worked for them, but I started my business because I wanted to be able to maintain some autonomy and some work-life balance for myself. If I was to build to a huge business, I would actually feel that I would probably lose that autonomy. Yes, more business and more teams means more money, but it also means more stress. So no, my preference is, of course, a small organisation. And how do I maintain my work-life balance is the next question. So I've sort of already led into that, but really most of my clients are working in the 9 to 5 in a job, and so for them, speaking to me during work hours around a job application isn't really ethical. So I tend to have my appointments after hours with my clients, and that doesn't mean that I start work at 7 a.m. and I'm still working at 9 p.m. No, I actually don't start my work day until later in the morning, because I know those evenings that I'm going to be still on the phone at 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night, I do not want to burn the candle at both ends. No way. So blocking out time in my calendar to make sure that I have adequate time to do the writing for my clients without other people booking appointments and making myself overwhelmingly busy. So that's my plan. So it's about having the mornings off where I'm having later consultations and blocking out my calendar. The most important thing to do when managing a team. Well, in the last 8 weeks, because of the recent lockdowns, I actually took the time out of my business to write a course for people to be able to run their own resume writing business and all of the things that entails. So I couldn't do that on my own. Yes, I wrote all of the content and did all the videos because it has to be, my face on the screen. But I had a couple of people working with me. I had a virtual assistant and I had a social media person. So for me, when I was working with those other awesome people, it was about communication. So we used Asana, which is similar to Trello, in managing our workflows and delegating tasks. Also, it was about giving them the autonomy and trusting them that when I asked them to do something, that knowing that they would just get on with the job. So working in a team, so communication, giving them autonomy, and then of course having trust. So to me, they're the three big things with when managing a team. The last question is, what important piece of advice have you received in running a successful business? Well, I have to say that I hate talking money. So when I went to see a business coach once, they said to me, Heidi, you have to realise the value of the work that you do and the lifetime value. So as a career coach who helps people move into some fairly high paying jobs, they said to me, Heidi, you have the ability to earn whatever the fees that you charge them once, and yet you're giving your clients, they can earn that over and over every day. So the best piece of advice was to know my own value in the services that I do, and to then, be confident to charge fees that reflect my client's ability or their future earning capacity. And that was a big thing for me because, like I said, I hate discussing money, and it just helped me, whilst I have a great ability to help other people to see their value, I needed to also apply those same principles to myself in my own business. So that brings me to the end of the 10 questions. I'm more than happy to answer any questions if anybody wants to write them in the comments after this live is over. And once again, thanks for having me today. This has actually been fun. So wishing you all a great day and a great week ahead. Thanks.